I'm so sorry, I forgot to start this at the beginning. We are 7 minutes into this chapter. I am so sorry. I was just thinking, like, something is missing. The lights. The lights on the recording. So we're going to get the last. I can already see the end of the chapter, so I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Part with her.
She knew that at times she must be missed, and could not think without pain of Emma's losing a single pleasure or suffering an hour's ennui from the want of her companion. This third time I've had to redo this line. Companionableness.
Part with her.
She knew that at times she must be missed, and could not think without pain of Emma's losing a single pleasure of suffering or.
Part with her.
She knew that at times she must be missed, and could not think without pain of Emma's losing a single pleasure, or suffering an hour's ennui from the want of her companionableness. But dear Emma was of no feeble character. She was more equal to her situation than most girls would have been, and had sense and energy and spirits that might be hoped would bear her well and happily through its little difficulties and privations. Try that again. What is that?
Nobleness.
But dear Emma was of no feeble character. She was more equal to her situation than most girls would have been, and had sense and energy and spirits that might be hoped would bear her well and happily through its little difficulties and privations. And then there was such comfort in the very easy distance of Randalls from Hartfield, so convenient for every solitary And then there was such comfort in the very easy distance of Randalls from Hartfield, so convenient for even solitary female walking, and in Mr. Weston's disposition and circumstances, which would make the approaching season no hindrance to their spending half the evenings in the week together. Her situation was altogether the subject of hours of gratitude to Mrs. Weston, and of moments only of regret, and her satisfaction, her more than satisfaction, her cheerful Her cheerful enjoyment was so just and so apparent that Emma, well as she knew her father, was sometimes taken by surprise at his being still able to pity poor Miss Taylor. When they left her at Randalls in the center of every domestic comfort, or saw her go away in the evening attended by her pleasant husband to a carriage of her own. But never did she go without Mr. Woodhouse's giving a gentle sigh and saying, "Ah, poor Miss Taylor, she would be very glad to stay." There was no recovering Miss Taylor, nor much likelihood of ceasing to pity her, but a few weeks brought some alleviation to Mr. Woodhouse. The compliments of his neighbors were over. He was no longer teased by being wished joy of so sorrowful an event, and the wedding cake, which had been a great distress to him, was all eat up. His own stomach could bear nothing rich, and he could never believe other people to be different from himself. What was unwholesome to him he regarded as unfit for anybody, and he had therefore earnestly tried to dissuade them from having any wedding cake at all. And when that proved vain, as earnestly tried to prevent And when that proved vain, as earnestly tried to prevent anybody's eating it, he had been at the pains of consulting Mr. Perry, the apothecary, on the subject. Mr. Perry was an intelligent, gentlemanlike man, whose frequent visits were one of the comforts of Mr. Woodhouse's life. And upon being applied to, he could not but acknowledge, though it seemed rather against the bias of inclination, that wedding cake might certainly disagree with many. Perhaps with most people, unless taken moderately. With such an opinion, in confirmation of his own, Mr. Woodhouse hoped to influence every visitor of the newly married pair, but still the cake was eaten, and there was no rest for his benevolent nerves till it was all gone. There was a strange rumor in Highbury of all the little Perrys being seen with a slice of Mrs. Weston's wedding cake in their hands, but Mr. Woodhouse would never believe it. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books today, while we read a bite of one of your favorite classics. All of the links for our show are in the show notes.
Show notes.
We are part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you ever wondered what inspired your favorite classic novelists to write their stories, what was happening in their lives or the world at the time, check out Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story.
Behind the Story.
Tuesdays wherever you listen to podcasts. Again, my name is Bree Carlisle, and I hope you come back tomorrow while we take the next bite of Emma. I need to edit my script because right now it still says Three Musketeers. I'll edit it right now. I'll take the next bite of EMMA. I also need to change it up here. Emma by Jane. When I did the intro today, I accidentally read The Three Musketeers and was like, wait, no. I had to go back. All right, well, that's all I'm doing for now. I think the next episode I have to do is a behind the story. Yeah, I got to do a behind the story next. So I may do that later today. I may do that tomorrow. It's already like 12:30 here today. It's a Saturday. Yeah, I got to get it behind the story done next. So we'll see if I do that today or if I do that tomorrow. Thanks, guys.